African Union Communications, Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals, intelligence, and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoyi, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of May 7, 2026, the armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. On May 7, 2026, the armed forces of Ukraine launched an attempt of a terrorist attack against civilian infrastructure near St. Petersburg. At around 3:20 MSK, a group of 6 UAVs was detected in the airspace of the Republic of Latvia by radio and technical reconnaissance means of the 6th Guards Army of the Air Force and Air Defense Forces of the Russian Federation. At the same time, 2 French Rafale fighter jets and 2 F-16 fighter jets were detected by Russian airspace control systems in the air over the territory of Latvia. At around 4 Sako, 5 of the 6 detected UAVs disappeared near the city of Rezekne in the east of Latvia. The 6th UAV was shot down by Russian air defense systems close to Likachevo, 78 kilometers southeast of Pskov, after entering Russian airspace at 4:41 MSK. As a result of the analysis of the wreckage, the air target, which attacked from Latvian airspace, was identified as a Ukrainian-made Lyuty An-196 UAV. The North Group of Forces improved the tactical situation. Russian troops engaged manpower and hardware of 2 mechanized brigades, an airmobile brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades close to Virovka, Kianitsa, Ryasnoye, and Krapovshchina in the Sumy region. In the Kharkov region, formations of 2 mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade were hit near Izbitskoye, Stogny, and Chaikovka in the Kharkov region. The enemy lost more than 230 troops, 12 motor vehicles, 2 artillery guns, and 1 electronic warfare station. The West Group of Forces took more advantageous lines and positions. The group's units inflicted losses at manpower and hardware of 4 mechanized brigades, an assault brigade, and a territorial defense brigade close to Zaliman, Semenovka in the Kharkov region, Zaliman and Krestishche in the Donetsk People's Republic. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 190 troops, 1 armored fighting vehicle, 25 motor vehicles, 1 artillery gun, 1 electronic warfare station, and 1 counterfire station. The South Group of Forces improved the tactical situation along the front line. Russian troops hit formations of 4 mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry brigade, a mountain assault brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a marine brigade near Konstantinovka, Kramatorsk, Krivaya Luka, and Piskunovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost more than 160 troops, 2 armored fighting vehicles, 17 motor vehicles, 4 field artillery guns, an electronic warfare station, and a counterfire station. The center group of forces took more advantageous lines and positions. The losses were inflicted on the manpower and hardware of 3 mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry brigade, an airborne brigade, 2 airmobile brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 4 National Guard brigades near Belitskoye, Dobropolye, Zolotoy Kolodez of the Donetsk People's Republic, and Novopodgorodnoye in Dnepropetrovsk region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 280 troops, 3 armored fighting vehicles, and 7 motor vehicles. 3 field artillery guns and 1 electronic warfare stations were neutralized. The East Group of Forces continued advancing into the depth of enemy defense. Russian troops inflicted damage on manpower and hardware of a mechanized brigade, an assault brigade, 3 air assault brigades, and 3 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine close to Velikomikhailovka, Verbovskoye, Kirichkovo, Chaplino in the Dnepropetrovsk region, Lesnoye, and Lyubitskoye in the Zaporozhye region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 320 troops, 1 armored personnel carrier, 8 motor vehicles, and 1 US-made 155mm M777 howitzer. The Dnieper Group's units inflicted losses on units of 2 mechanized brigades and a mountain assault brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine near Orakov, Kushugum, and Zheltaya Krucha in the Zaporozhye region, up to 30 troops, 3 armored fighting vehicles, 15 motor vehicles, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 1 counterfire station of the armed forces of Ukraine were neutralized. Operational tactical aviation, attack drones, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian groups of forces inflicted damage on transport infrastructure facilities used by the armed forces of Ukraine, launch points of fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles, temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 153 areas. Air defense systems shot down 3 guided aerial bombs, 4 U.S.-made HIMARS MLRS projectiles, and 570 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles.
In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 671 aircraft, 284 helicopters, 143,422 unmanned aerial vehicles, 659 anti-aircraft missile systems, 29,200 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,716 MLRS combat vehicles, 34,812 field artillery guns and mortars, 61,029 special military vehicles.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.